Hello guys, welcome to another video of Azure DevOps. In this video, we are going to discuss how to deploy Kubernetes manifest file in Kubernetes using Azure Pipelines. We are also going to discuss how to run kubectl commands like kubectl create, deploy, whatever you want to do with Kubernetes. We are going to learn how we can do that, how we can basically run those commands using Azure Pipelines. Okay, so let's begin. First, we are going to create a pipeline. Just we will create the basic pipelines and we'll add the task. We'll add the steps and I will show you how we can add those commands and how we can add those tasks in the pipeline to deploy them. Okay, so let me select the repository first. I will select any of that. We can click starter pipeline, or if you have any pipeline in which you want to add your these tasks like Kubernetes manifest deployment task or kubectl commands, then you can select that pipeline as well. But I don't have any, so we'll select the fresh one. Okay, here in steps we will add those commands. So let me remove this. And here if you click on show assistant, you can directly do it from here as well if you want to do it from here. But if you just click on show assistant and search for Kubernetes, so you will get few of the tasks for Kubernetes. We will discuss some of the tasks in separate videos. In this video today we are going to discuss about this task deploy to Kubernetes and the fourth one, which is kubectl. Okay, so let's add the fourth one, kubectl, then we will discuss about the second one. Okay, so here we have the command and what are the properties we need to supply to add this command. First we'll have to select the connection type. Generally we have to create the Kubernetes service connection, or even you can use Azure Resource Manager service connection to connect your pipeline with your Azure or with your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, this is what we create service connections for. Your pipeline should be connecting with your Kubernetes cluster or Azure. That's why we have to create this service connection. So if you check click on service connection type, you'll find two types of service connection: Azure Resource Manager and Azure Service Connection. Okay, when you can select the name as well and supply the namespace, but you can use this like you'll have to supply all these other details as well, like secrets and other things. And this will only work if your service principal, or probably if you are using managed identity, have access to your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, but best way to just create a service connection, if you don't want to get any issues later, then just create the service connection, either Kubernetes service connection or Azure Resource Manager service connection. If you are creating Manager Resource Manager service connection, then you should have the your basically service connection or managed identity should have the access of that Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so let me first select the Azure Resource Manager. If you are selecting this, it is asking for Azure subscription, resource group, and Kubernetes cluster. So you will have to supply all of these. Since I don't have any, uh, it's not giving me anything. I have one Azure Resource Manager type of service connection already created. So let me select that, and I don't have any resource group, that's why it is saying no resource group found. So I'll just add one, use adu-01. Okay, once you have selected your resource group, it will give you all the Kubernetes cluster in which, I mean, which resource group you have selected. Then the Kubernetes cluster which are present in this resource group will come here. We'll have to select it from the drop down and you can use that. So I don't have any Kubernetes cluster created. So here I just type ak-01. Okay. And based on, I mean, you can provide other things as well, like namespace, or if you want to use cluster admin credentials, then you can use that as well. Okay, if you are running some trying to run some commands, then you can run that commands as well, like which command you want to run: apply, create, and exec, delete, whatever command you want to run using kubectl, you can run that. Basically, kubectl is a, you can say, like, is a agent which we generally, which is which gets installed when you just install Kubernetes in a Azure or maybe GCP or AWS. So the using this kubectl, you can run different type of commands to manage your cluster. That can be Kubernetes in Google, AWS, or Azure. If you are running in Azure, that will be called Azure Kubernetes service. Okay, so this kubectl we just use to run different type of commands to manage our cluster. So those commands you will have to select it here. If you are supplying some arguments, then you can pass your arguments from here. Okay, suppose you want to just you have some configuration file and you want to just create that, then you can run kubectl create command. And if you have some arguments, then you can supply the arguments as well. Okay, here you will have to specify the secrets, which type of secrets you want to supply here: generic or Docker registry. If you want to just supply the container type of secret, Docker registry and container registry type. If you are using Azure container registry, then you can select Azure container registry or container registry. So let me select the Azure container registry, because we generally this is also an Azure service, so that would be good if you are using Azure. Here you can select your Azure service subscription and your particular Azure container registry and your secret name. Okay, after that we have the config map name. This is not mandatory, but if you want to uh, use this as well, you can use this. If you need more details, I mean, what are these commands and what are these properties, you can always click on this details button. So it will show everything in detail. Like if you see, what is this config map allows you to decouple configuration artifacts from image content to keep containerized application portable. So if you need this property, you can always check this. And if you like check the details of this as well, you'll see all the things. Delete the config map if it exists and create a new one with updated values. Okay, so if you want to create config maps, you will have to supply this config map name and arguments. Okay, and in the advanced, again, you will have to, if you want to specify kubectl version, you will have to specify that, like whatever version you want to use, and run that command. Then you can specify the version as well. And if you want to check for the latest version, you can check this box to check for the latest version. You can specify the working directory here, like what should be the working directory, and output format. If you want output format in JSON, let it be JSON. If you want that in YAML, then you can select the YAML as well. Okay, so we had selected the Azure Resource Manager connection type here. Let me add it first and let's see how this looks. So see, I have added this task to deploy the kubectl files. So this type of task is added. You can see Azure subscription endpoint, service point, endpoint for secrets, container registry to get the secret, secret type, and command. So basically with this task I'm running kubectl create command. Okay, and like this you can run other commands as well. So let me add another one. Type the Kubernetes, select the second fourth one. Now this time I will select service connection type as Kubernetes service connection. Okay, so you will have to create a Kubernetes service connection. This is not found here, so directly go to project setting and service connections. Here is a service connection. Create a new service connection and search for Kubernetes. Yeah, so you get this name and just click on next. So basically you are creating a service connection for Kubernetes. Okay, it is asking me to log in. So you'll have to log in your Azure account and it will create a service connection for you. First it will give you your subscription. It will ask you to log in, and whatever whatever clusters you have created in your subscription, it will show all of them here. You can select your resource groups as well, and finally service connection name and description, and you can check this box and click on create. If you want to, basically we are creating this service connection based on Azure subscription. If you want to create this based on, if you want to basically use authentication method as kubeconfig or service account, you can select this as well. Like if you want to select the service account, then you will have to provide the server URL and secrets as well. We have the instructions here, like how you can get the server URL and how you can get the secrets as well. So here if you run this command kubectl config view, I just already shown you how we can run this command and we can get the all the details with kubectl. So we use this kubectl to run different type of commands in Kubernetes. To get the server URL, you will have to run this command. Okay, if you run this command, you get the server URL. Just paste it here, and you can get the secret as well. Like kubectl get service account details. Okay, like this, you can paste the secret here. You can provide the service connection name, description if you want, and you can check this box as well and click on save. So using this, we can create the Kubernetes service connections. Once you have created it and you will refresh this page, your service connection will be visible here. Okay, so I have not created it at this time. Again, we have all the things like namespace, commands, and all the things are same. You can specify the Kubernetes namespace here. Okay, and again you can select the command. Suppose you have namespace as cube-01. I will give this command. This time I will just run delete command. If you have configurations, you can select use configurations. And if you want to run Kubernetes argument, if you are running commands with some arguments, you can always give your argument here. Like we had just we seen, if you are creating the, so see, if you just given this service account and you are running this command, and this you have this argument, right? Config view and hyphen hyphen something is there, so you can give this argument here in this box. Okay, and rest everything we have the same like how we had in this task. So I will just add it. If you just add it, you can see the difference in connection type. Here we had the connection type as resource manager, Azure resource manager, and here we have connection type as Kubernetes service connection. So both connection types will work. Here we have command as delete, namespace as kube1, and since we have not provided the service connection, this property is missing. If you add that, it will come here. Okay, so using both of these tasks, you can run kubectl commands in Kubernetes from Azure Pipelines. Okay. Now let me talk about another task which I was talking about. You just type Kubernetes, and again we have this deploy to Kubernetes task which is given by Azure Pipelines. If you just read the description, it says use Kubernetes manifest file to deploy to clusters, or even bake the manifest files to be used for deployments using Helm charts. Okay, so basically Kubernetes manifest file is the file written in YAML which we use to deploy in Kubernetes. You can run your kubectl create or apply commands to create the Kubernetes cluster based on the Kubernetes manifest file. This is written in YAML. Okay, I will talk about these files later when start series on Kubernetes. Okay, at the moment just I will add this task and we'll discuss other things. Okay, if you see the actions, you have all the commands like what you want to deploy, what you want to do with the Kubernetes manifest file. Suppose you want to deploy that, you'll have to select the deploy, reject, promote. You have so many commands here. Like if you want to delete something, you can use delete. Generally, we use deploy to deploy our Kubernetes manifest file. Again, you will have to select the service connection type. You can use both Azure Resource Manager or Kubernetes Service Connection. We don't have Kubernetes Service Connection, so we'll use Azure Resource Manager. Here you will have to provide the resource group. If you have resource groups in your subscription, all the resource group will be listed here and you can select it from drop down. And after that you will have to provide the Kubernetes cluster. Since we are using this in Azure, you will have to provide your Azure Kubernetes cluster name here. Okay, you will have this option to use admin credentials. If you want to use this you can check this box. You can provide the namespace, whatever namespace you have. You can specify the strategy as well, like in which strategy you want to deploy. None. If you are selecting none, no strategy will be used. And if you are selecting canary strategy will be used. Okay, if you just click on I, you can see deployment strategy to be used. Okay, we will discuss about this deployment strategy like canary, blue, green deployments and all those things later in some videos. So we will just select it none for now. And here you will have to provide the manifest file. You just click on I, it will just say manifest to deploy. You can provide the manifest path deploy. Just say, suppose we have this manifest dot YAML file here in current working directory, just will provide here something like this. Okay, and if you have, if you just, this containers field is blank, this is optional. So if you want to provide it you can, otherwise all the containers, everything will be, it will read from your manifest file. Okay, you can specify other properties as well, like image pool secrets. You click on I button, it will give you the details, image pool secrets to pull image from private registry. So if you are pulling some container images from some private registries like your Azure Kubernetes registries, then you will have to provide secrets as well, or you will have to provide authentication details as well to go and fetch your image from your container registry or some of the private registries. Okay, so we will add this task and see how it looks. So this task basically will deploy our Kubernetes manifest file in Kubernetes cluster. Here we have the connection type, and service connection name, resource group, Kubernetes cluster name, and if you have selected the cluster admin to use, it will come as true. You have your namespace and path of your manifest file. Simply, if you just run this command and add this task in your pipeline, it will deploy your manifest file in your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, you can use these commands as well, like if you want to manage your Kubernetes, like create, delete, or whatever you want. And first, if you want to just create your Kubernetes cluster or redeploy your manifest file, or if you have some changes, then you can always select it, your manifest file here, and use this Kubernetes manifest first version to deploy your manifest file. Okay, so in today's video we covered how we can run kubectl commands from Azure Pipelines to your Kubernetes cluster, and also we have covered how we can deploy our manifest file from Azure Pipelines using Azure Resource Manager Service Connection or Kubernetes Service Connection. Okay, that's it from this video. We will meet in another video with some different interesting topic. If you like this video, please like and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.